If you're someone who feels like there's no space for me to speak up, or when I set my boundaries, they're not honoured, or I don't feel respected, that can be because you're in this area of what I call our peace people, which means you're a giver and you like to make sure that everyone else is okay first, and that you don't always speak up for yourself when you need to. And so you'll know this if this is you, yes? And you'll think, how does anyone else know that? But obviously, if we're thinking and reflecting for ourselves, we can feel like, oh yeah, I do hold myself back because I do care what other people think. So there's peace people, but there's also a bit of peace in all of us, wanting that harmony, yes? So these are the people who are going to be more concerned about what other people think. But also not only that, want to take time to process because they're more considered and they're very thoughtful people. And so they'll think about what they want to say before they say it. They won't rush and say it. So the peace people are going to be holding themselves back a little bit, yes? Then we have our rules people. So our rules people are the people who want to get it right, to perfectionism, you know, everything needs to be to a really high standard. I was working with a group earlier this week and someone shared, you know, well, shouldn't everyone just rise to my standards? Why should I have to drop to their standards? Very good question. But if we hold to our standards and then expect the world to follow, I'm not saying to drop your standards, I'm just saying to be aware that maybe not everyone thinks the same. And if we judge them for not thinking the same as us, then that's when we can have a disconnect, yes? So knowing that we're the rules people, and if we're peace people, we're more likely to be more considered and not necessarily make way for our own voice, our own authentic voice, yes? You with me so far? So just know where you might be sort of having a preference. Now, human beings are much more complex than trying to stick us in 4 buckets, right? But this is a lens to look through, you know, like we did in the Focus Your Future webinar, looking through a lens to get some deeper understanding of why we do what we do and why we don't speak our authentic voice. We'll talk about what authentic is in a minute. So these are the people that are more likely to second guess themselves, hold themselves back, wonder if they're actually doing the right thing, am I on the right track? And so therefore feel like there's not as much space for them, yes? So I'm building this and I'm going to share a bit more of a holistic view with you in a second. The next people are what I call our party people. So they're ready to share anything, anytime, no matter what, right? So these are the people that talk a lot, use a lot of words, and these people can kind of get a bit frustrated with them because they're just flying off the handle saying all sorts of things. And their ideas come out their mouth before they've actually thought them through really well. So these people don't usually have much problem speaking up. Doesn't mean that they're speaking in their authentic voice all the time though, because that takes something else. But these are the people that will kind of, you know, go in and just start talking, and these people will think, oh, they're speaking their truth, but maybe they're not either. And then we have our results people. Our results people are the people who want to go there and go fast, yes? They are always thinking about the outcome, yes? And so with the results people, they like the sound of their own voice too and their opinion, and they'll happily give it most of the time. So these people might sound like, because they're outspoken, and some people might use the word extrovert or outspoken, these people can feel like that energy is coming in on top of them, therefore there's no space to speak up. And these people can think that these people are speaking their truth, but not necessarily. You with me? So so this is more kind of like the extrovert. This is sort of older language, extrovert and introvert, but it's still helpful, yes? And this is more the introvert. And neither energy is better than the other. What it means is these people are more considered, process internally before they speak, and these people process externally, so speak kind of as they think. So it's helpful for you to know, now you're going to be a little bit of all of that, yes? Sometimes you might feel more comfortable than you might be here with family or friends. Sometimes in a particular project or when you want to achieve high standards, you'll be here. So you'll have all of these within you, but you will have a preference. There'll be one piece here that really speaks more to you than others. And it's helpful to know that. And it's helpful to reflect honestly. And so, because then we can have a doorway to why we do what we do. So remember, these people are more like wanting to connect and collaborate. These people are into harmony and really thoughtful. These people are into quality, yes, and detail and analysis. And these people are into outcomes and decision making and sort of that motivated, driven energy, yes? And again, they all have what I call, there's the light side, they all have their dark side as well when there's a stress tipping point. And quickly I'll give you that. So for our party people, they'll become distracted and sometimes quite emotional. And because they speak more, when they were emotional, they speak those emotions too. So it can feel like they're really emotional to other people. The peace people will have that blow up or withdraw, so they'll be steady all the way through. Someone said the other day, like a swan on the water, where they're all graceful on the top, everything's fine, but underneath there's a lot of kicking going on. I quite like that. And so it can be termed passive aggressive, but just knowing it's just that explosion or implosion moment. Yeah. And then this one, the dark side of the rules, because of their high standards, can turn into judgment. So they're judging themselves harshly, but also judging other people. And then this one can turn into sort of aggression or control. So wanting to control everything. So have a think about, I'm going to give you a minute to think about where you might be. And yes, you might be here or here, but just choose one. And if you've got a second one, that's okay too. So I'll give you a moment to do that.